Imagine this, a massive wave of water, unleashed without warning, sweeping everything in its path. These catastrophic dam failures, caught on camera, changed entire landscapes instantly, from ancient embankments crumbling to toxic floods, devastating communities. You won't believe what's coming next. Stay tuned as we dive into 10 of the most shocking dam disasters that left the world in disbelief. After relentless rains, a catastrophic disaster struck, forcing residents to flee in panic. A crack in the dam broke open, unleashing a torrent of floodwaters downriver, submerging everything in its path. The dam's collapse was the result of decades of neglect and construction errors made nearly a century ago. The image of the dam crumbling under nature's fury still haunts the community, like an unhealable wound in their collective memory. The Brumadinho disaster stands as one of the deadliest mining dam failures in history, claiming the lives of 270 people. What was once a reservoir for toxic mining waste transformed into a raging mudslide, swallowing everything in its path. Heart-stopping footage captures the terrifying wall of debris sweeping across the land, leaving workers scrambling for their lives. This catastrophic event was far from isolated. It was part of a series of devastating failures by the mining giant Vale, whose reckless negligence cost countless lives. In the remote mountains of Uttarakhand, a catastrophic glacial dam burst, unleashed a violent surge of water and debris, hurtling down the valley with terrifying speed. The deafening roar of the flood was followed by the merciless rush of ice-cold water, sweeping away everything in its path, homes, roads, and lives. As the disaster unfolded, experts pointed to the grim reality of climate change as a likely culprit. In its wake, the landscape lay in ruins, a haunting reminder of the fragile vulnerability of high-altitude regions, helpless against the forces of nature unleashed by our changing world. Years of meticulous planning and effort went into the Auburn Dam project, but it teetered on the edge of disaster before it could even be finished. Unforeseen heavy rains battered the partially constructed dam, triggering severe erosion that threatened to unravel everything. The region was on the brink of catastrophe. Only the swift, decisive actions of officials prevented what could have been a catastrophic flood, sparing countless lives and leaving the community in a state of anxious relief. A devastating toxic red mud spill engulfed the town of Ajka, forever altering its landscape and its people. When the tailings dam collapsed, over 1 million cubic meters of caustic sludge surged into nearby villages, poisoning everything in its path. The aftermath was catastrophic. Homes were destroyed and residents suffered severe chemical burns, with lives tragically lost. The disaster sparked an outcry, a wave of fury over the irreversible damage, yet the company responsible faced little to no consequences. The community was left to pick up the pieces, while justice seemed to slip through their fingers. In Sichuan, relentless rains and landslides triggered catastrophic flooding, pushing a dam to its breaking point. The region, already known for its vulnerability to nature's fury, was plunged into chaos as floodwaters consumed everything in their path. Amid the destruction, a race against time began to save the iconic giant Buddha statue, now standing helplessly amid the rising waters. The once serene landscape was unrecognizable, as emergency teams fought desperately to protect a symbol of cultural heritage, while the relentless floods threatened to erase it all. After relentless rains, the Nam A Dam gave way, unleashing a torrent of water that devastated freshly planted rice fields, wiping out crops in an instant. The floodwaters surged with terrifying speed, leaving workers and local residents stranded, helpless, in the face of nature's fury. As the floodwaters receded, a painful reality set in. Families were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives, while the response from authorities was agonizingly slow. Years later, many are still fighting for compensation, the scars of that devastating flood lingering long after the waters have gone. 4 years before the Brumadinho disaster, the town of Mariana in Brazil was struck by another catastrophic tailings dam failure. The collapse unleashed 43 million cubic meters of toxic sludge, a toxic wave that surged through rivers, poisoning everything it touched and devastating communities downstream. The scale of the destruction was staggering, as entire ecosystems were wiped out and lives were torn apart. The tragedy was tied to the same company, Vale, whose negligence sparked not just an environmental disaster, but a full-blown humanitarian crisis, leaving a trail of contamination, ruin, and grief that would haunt the region for years to come. After days of relentless torrential rain,
the Sardoba Reservoir Dam
collapsed,
keeps water inside the reservoir, about 922 million cubic meters of it, and uses it for
floodwaters raged uncontrollably, obliterating homes and sweeping away entire fields of crops, leaving devastation in its wake. Desperate efforts to contain the flood only worsened the crisis, as the surge of water surged even further. The scale of the destruction was unfathomable, and the financial toll to repair the damage soared past $400 million. In the face of such overwhelming loss, the community was left to grapple with the heart-wrenching aftermath of a disaster that changed everything. In St. Johnsbury, an ice dam suddenly shattered, unleashing a torrent of water and ice that raced down the river with relentless force. A local resident captured the terrifying moment as the flood surged beneath a bridge, a raw and stunning display of nature's fury. The scene was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a stark reminder of how rising temperatures can cause ice dams to fracture without warning, triggering flash floods that sweep through with brutal speed. What was once a peaceful winter landscape became a chaotic reminder of the volatile power of our changing climate. These devastating dam failures reveal how terrifyingly unpredictable and dangerous nature can be, especially when compounded by human neglect. The raw power of these disasters is a sobering reminder of the fragile balance between humanity and the forces beyond our control. Want to witness more heart-stopping, real-life catastrophes caught on tape? Remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss another jaw-dropping moment of the world's most shocking and unforgettable events.